Hey there, and welcome to day 2 of Inktober and me drawing things for Inktober. So, on this one, I ended up using, combining some prompts. One was, of course, from Drawtober, like last time, which was Stitched Together, and the other one I took from Drawlloween, which was Summon Day, because it's for a Monday, and it's some Monday, I don't know, it's a pun, but anyway, I thought it was an interesting combination, so I just kind of went with it, and I came up with this little bunny knight being summoned by this witch that is like a yarn, sewing, knitting themed witch, so she kind of summons this little bunny knight to defend her from this monster by doing this little cat's cradle kind of thing. I don't know. I was thinking about, like, instead of a summoning circle or something like that, she does spells with, like, little cat's cradle patterns or positions or whatever you would call them. I don't know. Here I am inking, and I'm using a different pen on the bunny than the rest of the image. I gave him kind of a chunkier line work because I wanted him to be a bit more cartoony in relation to the other characters. Not that I went with a realistic style or something. My style is kind of just cartoony in general, but I wanted him to be a little bit more like imaginary, not as real. He's like coming from this witch's imagination, and he's kind of just this magical bunny. I don't know. I was studying like storyboarding and film scenes before I worked on this piece, which I didn't consciously really think about, but I think it really influenced this piece because I ended up using the paper as more of a frame than I normally would. I mean, sometimes when I'm using when I'm doing traditional work and I'm drawing on paper, I kind of tend to stick toward the center more, but I was thinking of it more as like a frame in a movie or something, so I used up the whole space a little bit more than I usually do. And I'm really happy with how that turned out. I'm doing a little bunch of little scales on the monster, and it's not that visible in the final piece because I go over it with lots of layers of ink, but I think it's visible enough in the final that it's like a nice detail and stuff. I originally, well, I won't talk about it till it shows up, but the color I'm using here in this piece is another shade of red, Copic marker, but I outlined it first in red, all the areas that were going to be, and I thought that might be enough, but they were too similar. The color of the pen I used to outline and the color of the marker were just too close together, so I ended up having to go and outline it all in black anyway, but this is just like the first lightest layer, and here I'm going in with the marker, and you can see it just kind of blends in a bit too much. You can't see any real definition of the outline, so. And then I didn't like at all how the magical effects came out. I wanted them to be more sharp looking, but it was partially the way that the marker reacted with the paper. I think it kind of just looked fuzzy, and then partially I didn't plan it out enough, so it didn't really turn out like I wanted it to. But it's not terrible. It's not my favorite part of the image, but overall I'm really happy with how this came out. And just adding a bunch of layers of ink. I really wanted the monster in the foreground to be like the darkest part of it and be kind of in shadow, and you can only really see the claws, and it's just sort of mysterious. You can't see the whole thing, and your mind can kind of fill it in. I kind of like those kind of things in images sometimes where there's just like a hint of something there. You can just imagine the rest. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this piece. I ended up going and darkening the monster even more with just straight black ink. And then I did some little details in blacklight. I did some little random magical sparks in the background. Gave the monster dripping claws. I put like a needle pattern over the sword. I don't know. And I put a little heart over the bunny's, where the bunny's heart would be, like it's his magical heart or something. So that's it for day 2 of Inktober. I'm pretty happy looking back on this piece. So thanks for watching.